what is up, fan addicts? Welcome back to another week, another episode of the pod. As you can see, Charlie is out, so Fan Man is gone, and the Blower Boy is in. I will be handling this podcast by myself. I am the captain now. Not really. Um, don't expect this podcast to be that technical. We're just shooting the breeze today, dude. We'll talk a little bit about AI and what we're expecting in that industry, but before we get into that, talk a little bit about the weekend. Um, I've been using ChatGPT a lot to figure out what kind of dishes I want to make for dinner. So it's pretty fun. I made pulled pork egg rolls last week, and I made some pho from scratch over the weekend for the Nate Diaz fight. That was pretty fun. He lost, but I still had a good time. I've also been planning a big camping trip that we're taking in June for my girlfriend's birthday, and that has been somewhat of a challenge. We have like 30 people going, so it's been a bit rough. I got my buddies helping me out though. They've been pretty good about that. Maybe I could use ChatGPT for that too. Hey, figure out the array. I don't know. I don't know what to ask it. Anyways, let's get into it. Um, so today we're gonna be talking about AI and what to expect from that industry and how some of the new designs that are coming out are going to be creating a bit of a challenge for us and how we're going to be seeing everything flow into the new AI world, I'd say. Um, anyways, when people think about AI, they usually think about GPUs, software, and massive data centers, right? But one thing people don't realize is AI has created a massive cooling challenge. After working in this industry, I have a few things that I kind of want to get into that have surprised me over the last year and a half, I'd say. All right, first thing that surprised me: AI hardware runs hot, right? AI systems use massive amounts of power. Uh, More power always turns into more heat, and AI systems are running on a continuous load. So they're getting so hot. Imagine putting like six space heaters in one cabinet, right? It's gonna get pretty freaking hot in there. So that was the first surprising thing. And that leads into my next thing. The industry is trying to put more power into less space. AI systems are becoming smaller, faster, and more compact, but the cooling space is not increasing. So more heat, less room to work with. You know what I'm saying? Um, Less airflow room, tighter airflow paths, and more heat concentrated in smaller areas, which is just a challenge, but we're on the case. Don't worry about that. Um, the next thing that surprised me is AI isn't just data centers anymore. Before this industry, I thought AI was mostly about giant server farms, but now AI is showing up everywhere. It's in robotics, industrial systems, medical devices, smart cameras, edge computing. So it's just everywhere all at once. It's here to get you. And honestly, some of these smaller systems are harder to cool than large data centers. Why? Limited space, less airflow, quieter operation requirements, and dust and environmental concerns. All right, the next thing I'm going to get into is more airflow doesn't automatically solve the problem. I used to think just add a bigger fan, put more power to it. That's not the case. Uh, Real cooling is much more complicated. Airflow depends on restrictions, airflow paths, pressure, and enclosure design. Sometimes adding a stronger fan barely helps because the airflow can't move efficiently through the system. So, smaller systems are creating more pressure, and a fan needs, the more pressure you add, the less airflow we're going to get out of it. Um, Traditional air cooling is starting to reach its limits. So we're going to be seeing a lot more liquid cooling and hybrid cooling systems, which I think is going to be pretty good for our industry, especially in these high performance or compact systems. You're not going to see the traditional fan in there anymore. It's going to be more liquid cooled. Um, Cooling affects more things than just the temperature. It affects system performance, reliability, lifespan, noise, stability, and every industry has their own opinions on this. So in the medical industry, they want reliability and they want less noise. But then you move to the industrial industry, and noise isn't really a concern of theirs. They're looking for performance and reliability. So we're going to be seeing a lot of different solutions for the same thing in all of these different industries. So it's going to be pretty fun, uh, to mess with and to see what our thermal engineers can come up with. AI is changing the cooling industry very quickly. The industry is rapidly evolving, and to a point that I don't think any of us have ever seen before. 6 months ago, AI is a lot different than 6 months from now. AI. It's going to be more advanced and I'd say more intelligent. So it's gonna pose some unique challenges and some unique requirements that we're going to be seeing here pretty soon. Um, and honestly, I think cooling is going to become one of the biggest concerns for these engineers. And right now, I would say cooling is kind of at the bottom of their list, which to me has always been crazy. But people will come to us with a design and they say, "Here's how much space you have to work with. Figure it out." And it's like that poses a tough challenge, with they say, "Here's you have 40 millimeters to work with," and we're like, "Well, we have a really kick-ass 50 millimeter that will really help you," and they're like, "Yeah, we can't do it. So figure this out." And it's gonna be it's a lot of it's a big challenge that we have to face day in and day out. But with the way things are evolving in the AI field, I think a lot of engineers are going to be focused on building around a cooling system, which is going to be amazing. It's going to be like a playground for us to figure out. Well, we wouldn't really have to figure out anything. They would have to figure out how to build a system around our cooling, and it's going to be amazing. Moving to my closing statements, AI is advancing incredibly fast, but all that computing power creates real thermal challenges that we're ready to face. And the one thing I've learned is the smarter our systems become, the harder they become to cool. So it's going to pose a real challenge, and it's going to be pretty fun to be a part of that for the next few years and just to see how everything's going to be going. So we're excited, and our engineers are, working day and night to figure this out. And it'll be one of the industries I think we will be putting not most of our, we're gonna this industry is going to be one that we will be putting a lot of stock into. I would say we're going to be working hard to, you know, be top of the class and have the best cooling for all these devices. So, yeah, I think that's it for me on this podcast. I told you it's not too technical. We're just having a conversation today, guys. Charlie's going to be back in next week. We've got Monday off, so we will be probably recording on Tuesday, I believe. But yeah, so thanks for watching this week, this episode, guys. Appreciate it, and I will see you again next week.